Good day, everyone. We would like to tackle the cause and effect of our chosen problem, which is the price hike. As we've talked about, we are going to discuss some social issues and concerns that we see in the Philippine economy today. First, we are going to talk about the cause, then the problems it produces, then followed by its effects. We will start with Liz, Diana to tackle the causes of the problem.
Good day. I'm Elizabeth Aregla, and to start off with the causes, let's talk about what inflation really is. Inflation has always been a part of the economy, and the more demand there is for everyday needs of the citizens, the more the government needs to help and supply those needs. Inflation is the increase of prices over a period of time to meet demands. The more supply a business has, the more demand there is for the buyers. Inflation decreases the likelihood of running out of supply because buyers would have to pay more money. Moving on, let's now discuss the Philippines data for inflation rates this 2022, which will be explained by my partner, Diana.
It is a significant problem we Filipinos are facing now that we are transitioning into the new normal. I'm sure we can all remember and have been a victim to the increased amount of gas prices in our country, with a record of 81.2 pesos per liter back in June. This may be all due to the fact that the inflation rate has increased as well. From 6.9% in September 2022, it has increased up to 7.7% in October 2022, and with an average of 4% back in October 2021, it has now risen to 5.4%.
With the data presented, surely there are effects to the Philippine economy. Another cause we'd like to discuss is the recent natural disaster that occurred in the Philippines this 2022, which is the super typhoon Noru or Kardi. Many lives and possessions were lost. The demand for financial support increased, and despite the aid of the government organizations to these type of calamities, it might not be enough to retrieve what was lost from the people.
Climate change is also significant to this type of calamities. Climate change is an unavoidable effect of nature, but the effect of it is not impossible for people to prevent. Mild rains are beneficial for farmers and agriculturists because it acts as sprinkles to let the soil be moist. However, heavy rains or storms is one of the fears of farmers and workers of agriculture because it is dangerous for crops such as rice, coconut, sugar, and vegetables. Once the storm ruins the food resources, it can, it can cause low in quantity and high in demand. The the high demand will result in a price hike because the resources of crops are not easily accessible after the storm. According to the survey of Oxfam in the month of July to September 2021, there are an estimated 2.5 million Filipinos that suffer from involuntary hunger at least once in 3 months. For these reasons, it is clear that climate change has a significant effect on the financial status of the people. The next speaker, Juliet, will discuss the effect of price hike on the people.
Although poverty has already been a long term problem here in the Philippines, there is no denying that the recent price hike has significantly made it worse. Filipinos already have a hard time earning money to put food on the table. But how much more now that everything has gone higher? People with minimum wage salaries still get paid the same regardless of the prices changing. Yet there is nothing to be done about this despite the poverty rate progressively getting higher. Statistics show that as of 2022, around 2.4 million Filipino families are experiencing moderate hunger, while 744,000 families suffer from severe hunger. The recent lockdown, paired with the inflation, has made it excruciatingly harder for Filipinos to acquire their needs. It is evident that it is getting harder and harder each day for low income families to adapt with the recent price hike.
And let's also go back to something Liz has mentioned a while ago, the oil prices. They've also gotten more pricey in our country. It's important to keep track of these certain prices since many Filipinos use public transport. According to Forbes Advisor, the price of a gallon of gasoline has increased by around $0.05 over the past month to $3.83, reversing a trend of months-long price declines after prices touched record highs near $5 a gallon earlier this summer. The first planned target drop since the COVID-19 crisis, OPEC Plus agreement to cut oil by 2 million barrels per day may be pushing the pump price even higher. Why now? In response to the slowing global economic growth, the organization is probably aiming to increase oil prices. The action is being taken at a time when OPEC Plus is already producing below target. After the decision was made, the price of a barrel of WTI crude oil increased by 11% to over $88 per barrel.
Moving on, crime is one of the effects caused by inflation. In the Philippines, crime exists in many different forms. It is still a major problem, which includes the sale of illegal drugs, loan sharking, extortion, kidnapping, and murder for hire are just a few of crimes that certain families of barcadas, or in English called groups, commit in the Philippines. Other crimes include robbery, kidnapping, and murder for hire as well as pickpocketing is a common kind of petty crime in the Philippines. Typically, it occurs in busy places with plenty of people present, such as malls or churches. It is risky to go alone after dark to get cash, especially for foreigners. Estimates of unlawful killings committed on purpose as a consequence of martial disputes, in personal violence, violent fight over natural resources, inter-gang fighting for territory or control, and murderous predation by armed organization are known as intentional homicides. The distinction between purposeful killing and intentional murder largely lies on how the act was carried out. Homicide is often perpetrated by lone individuals or small groups, but killing in armed conflict is typically performed by somewhat coherent organizations with up to several hundred members and is therefore typically omitted. In the first 5 years of President Rodrigo Duterte's administration, the crime rate in the nation has decreased by 73.76%. Speaking to the president during his talk to the people briefing, ASO said that the country's index crime decreased to 34,552 in 2021 from 131,699 in 2016. Index crimes include murder, homicide, rape, robbery, kidnapping, physical injuries, and 8 other unique complex crimes that are considered to be sufficiently serious in nature. As for example, in the statistics would be Philippine crime rate in statistics for 2019 was 4.41, a 16.84% decline from 2018. And as for the year 2018, a 5.30, which is a 32.6% decline from 2017. And from the 2017, it's a 7.86, a 26.94 decline percent from 2016. And that year, also 2016, was a 10.76, a 23.3 increase percent from 2012.
To sum it all up, price hike is undeniably one of the major issues that the Philippines is currently facing. From the vegetables, fruits, oil, and daily essentials, the drastic price changes in everyday products is obvious for a common Filipino. This affects the lives of every class of people, but the middle and lower classes are the ones taking the direct hit. This is because despite the rising costs of products, non-plantation workers' minimum wage only sits at 570 pesos per day, though it had risen compared to the 537 pesos per day last year. Though PSA announced that to A family will need 279 pesos to feed five members of approximately 93 pesos per meal. The price hikes, yet the income stays low. What happens if health emergencies arise or a natural disaster hits? What happens to the children's education? Some of the things that affect price hike naturally are inflation and natural disasters. Inflation has been there a long time and will continue to stay for another long time. However, inflations and price hikes aren't the same. Inflations are the drop of the purchasing power that money holds. However, price hikes are the adjustments of the supply and demand of the products in the economy. In a way, inflation has its hand in causing price hikes, but some factors affect price hikes sharply. One of these factors are the natural disasters that affect the agriculture of the country. When Typhoon Rai hit the Philippines last 2021, the country lost over 11.1 billion pesos worth of agricultural crops and another 17.5 billion pesos for the damages that the storm brought on Filipino homes, water lines, roads, and others. This had resulted in voluntary hunger for 2.5 million Filipinos over the course of the next 3 months. Disasters like these cause price hikes as it lessens the supply of food in the overwhelming demand of it. And when there is a price hike, effects are sure to follow, such as high oil prices, poverty, and higher crime rate. Recently, oil prices have hit at least 67 pesos because of the price hike. For drivers, this is a grave thing because instead of using the money for other essentials, it goes to oil instead. And this contributes to poverty. Like I have said earlier, people struggle to make ends meet. But without a choice, without a job that properly sustains them, what do people do? Which leads to higher crime rates. People are left with no choice in the matter. If they want to eat for that day. So what should be done to prevent the price hike from happening? Well, there isn't really anything that we can do when it comes to natural inflation and the incoming natural disasters. Price hike is necessary, no matter how uncomfortable consumers are at the rise of the cost of the products, because it is needed to cope with the demand and supply, and the cost of transmitting products from one place to another. Still, we can still think of the some things that we can do to prepare people for the price hikes. To better prepare for the typhoons, the government could ready supplies such as food, money, and laid out plans so that people could go back to their normal lives as soon as possible. In addition to this, the rise of the daily wage of workers is needed to further accommodate necessities and lead to healthier lifestyles. Provision of free sex education and family planning is also something that can help Filipinos so that families can plan for their livelihood and ensure the safety and future of every family member. Though it is not easy, these lessons and steps are just a point in the right direction. However, our group can contribute three solutions. First is being knowledgeable in this certain problem. We are able to formulate the right questions and answers if we know the topic. Then we can join big groups that support these kinds of advocacies and spread awareness so that more people can do the same. Second, caring for the environment and advocating for climate change also works because if we collectively do it, we are able in some way help the environment produce less damaging typhoons. We can walk to short places instead of driving there and stop burning household fossil fuels. And lastly, the next best thing that we could do is to buy local products to help our economy so that cultures and Filipino families are supported. This way, we also don't have to worry about the high cost of transmitting products. We are able to give more values to the jobs of Filipinos and they gain revenue. As a part of the society, these solutions are beneficial for the society because it can contribute to a lot of aspects in the manner of living of people. We hope for a greater good as citizens of this country. Thank you all for listening.